Why is it that spiritual siddhis are regarded as something that needs to be overcome or transcended also? And why, it makes sense why is there so much interest with people in siddhis or supernatural powers. I've met many people, or at least a decent amount, who express some kind of a siddhi, some working with it, or having an interest in it themselves, and some being scared of it. So what is it that makes the siddhis seem like an obstacle? Before continuing, make sure to subscribe if you're not, because I will do more videos like this. Thank you. By themselves, they are not an obstacle, and if they are expressed and manifested, there's nothing really wrong with that. But if they are manifested or expressed in someone who is not established in God, it works the same way as any kind of other power, not just spiritual. It might, and it is known to really divert one's mind from God and the simplicity into a lot of different kind of turmoil. It can create many more blockages in the mind. And if you experience a lot of interest in your own personal life and your own troubles, problems, and what should be done and what should be, what shouldn't be, and already that has such a pull on one's attention. Now imagine that mind having access to previous lives, having access to seeing so much more. Imagine that mind getting so much bigger and so many things that appear so interesting to look at, taking the attention away from presence, awareness, and then identity, and all of the striving for liberation of the mind appears to get blocked. The same way as one would find many struggles with being pulled and immersed in their own personal self, then there is a much bigger threat where that one is immersed in a lot more, depending on what is happening in that experience. If one has the ability to be swayed and pulled like this, then it is dangerous. And it is not something that is like, wow, oh my god, spiritual power, whoa. It doesn't feel like anything amazing. It is the same as seeing a powerful person anywhere else. It's just because it feels very mystical and fantasy, and spiritual people are a little weird in this. That's why they're very weird in this, but it is the same as seeing someone who has a lot of money, a lot of influence over many people. Wouldn't you say that one is powerful too? Does that make him any more mature? No. Well then, if you see someone who has spiritual powers, why do you assume they're mature? They might not be at all. And the same way that a person who has a lot of influence over many people and a lot of money and a lot of, as you would say, material power, has power over those people because they themselves have their own personal ideas, gains and losses, then of course they have power over them. But if that person, which is being manipulated, would have full responsibility over their emotions and not have so much interest in any personal gains, what does a powerful and influential person have for that one? What can he manipulate him? Maybe he will try to make that person angry. This powerful one tries to make the less socially powerful angry, but it doesn't work. Then they try to give them a deal, amazing deal, but a very stinky deal. Someone who is very interested in personal gain, they will do it. But one who is not so lost in it and seeing the things the way they are, out of not being fully immersed in their own personal self, it will not work on them. In the same way, if someone has any spiritual powers, let's say they plant a thought in your mind, horrible thoughts, what does it matter? to someone who doesn't give so much importance to them, okay, they will make you feel very bad energies. Okay, that is very rare. How often does someone walk up to you and shoot you with a gun? It's just like a gun. Why are you making a big deal out of it? Someone has a gun, you go, oh, whatever, he has a gun. Someone can be like, oh, I can shoot you with my thoughts and you might die. Okay, well, that's really bad for them and very unfortunate for you. But how often does someone shoot you, huh? So many spiritually interested people are hanged up on being scared of someone who expresses any kind of spiritual power, I guess. I don't know what's the word. I would say spiritual aboveness, that they appear to be above them. They create fear. So don't be too hanged up on this. It might feel weird, but at one point, no matter the expression which appears in front of you, may it be some Siddhi, may it be someone with a Siddhi, it doesn't feel like interesting because they're still you. And they can have the biggest power in the world. But they'll also die. Their body is gonna die. And if you look past the body and the mind, expressing the Siddhi, they're just you. So what more do they have? It's as if I was waving a gun around, or maybe I was showing you my muscles, or maybe I had so much knowledge, or maybe I can do some very good skill that no one can do. And you could say, that's admirable. I admire your determination and your skill that you honed and that you can do, but that's what it is. That's about it. If it's a skill that can be helpful to people, then it still needs a lot of discernment. Meeting people who are clairvoyant, it can be helpful if used for others, but it doesn't help ultimately. It's not the ultimate help if someone is working with that. It's what I experienced. It is like, okay, you help with this specific thing, but the root is never addressed because you only know your Siddhi and you do not know the truth. You do not know God. You take God as something so far away from you. That's what I've experienced in people with Siddhis, and people with Siddhis using it as a spiritual help. So there's no need to be so hanged up upon Siddhis.